Welcome to today's edition of our 10 Weather Impact Show. As we look outside today, man, it is a cold start to the day. No ifs, ands, or buts about that. Here's a look at the time lapse going back in time from yesterday. And you'll notice that as we go into this morning, we had the clouds quickly roll on over. And now we're looking at quite a bit of cloudy skies as we head through the early afternoon. You know, what's cool about these type of clouds that roll in early in the morning is that they give you the most spectacular sunrises that you'll ever see. And today we saw some incredible pictures here throughout the viewing area. Also, if you were out and about early this morning, you saw the full wolf moon. The official full moon was earlier this morning, but as we head into the next couple of weeks, we actually have the new moon back next week here, or the third quarter moon on the 21st, and then the week after that we have the new moon on the 29th of January. So should be pretty cool. The next couple of days we're going to be looking at the moon still giving off quite a bit of light out there, so it should be pretty cool to check out. All right, a quick summary right now on the month of January. You know what? Old man winter has us in its grip, and it's not going to be changing anytime soon. Look at this: above average snowfall, below average temperatures, and then the coldest weather that we've seen so far this winter was actually today. 8 degrees was actually the nighttime low this morning, and so that is officially the coldest. But here's the funny thing. Tomorrow at this time, I'm going to have to update that number because I think tonight it'll be even colder. So the next couple of days, we just continue to be in this very cold pattern across the area. 10 weather impact for this afternoon. It's already starting to snow out there. We're not looking at a ton of accumulation, a quick half-inch expected throughout the area, but all it takes is just a half-inch of snow to make the roads a little bit more slick out there. So just be careful as we head throughout the day. So we'll start you off here around 1:30 p.m. And as we head into this afternoon, most of the snow is above the I-70 divider. You head north of town, we're looking at a little bit more. Circleville, Chillicothe, and even down there in Piketon, not a whole lot showing up right now. But 3:30, 4 o'clock, now places like Urbana, Bellefontaine, and Springfield, not a whole lot showing up, but New Lexington, Logan, MacArthur, Jackson, etc. You can see that snow moving into the area, eventually moving down towards Athens and Jackson by about 3:30, 4 o'clock. By 5 o'clock, see you later. Nothing's showing up here on the map, and that's going to be moving off to the east. Quick dusting, I'm thinking about a half inch here in the metro. This system has hardly any moisture with it. However, right now, the liquid to snow ratio is about 20-1. Typically, it's about 10-1, meaning that for every inch of rain, you get about 10 inches of snowfall. Today, because we've got that cold, dry air, you get that nice, fluffy, powdery snow. And so that ratio is about 20-1 today. So that means that it doesn't take a whole lot of moisture. Few 1/100ths of an inch of precipitation will give you a quick inch of snow. I do think everybody will stay below that 1 inch mark, except for some of these hills up towards Mount Vernon, Bucyrus. Some areas up here might get a little bit closer to that 1 inch mark as we head into the afternoon. Now, looking ahead to tomorrow, 10 weather impact alert. Why? It's about to get even colder out there. If you thought today was cold, just wait until tomorrow morning. Wind chills here, 0. And you know, that's kind of a safe bet. I'm thinking some of you could get down -5, maybe -10 wind chill heading into tomorrow. You don't want any exposed skin. You want to cover up as much as possible. The average wind chill this morning was -1. Tomorrow, the average wind chill will be about -4. That is the worst day of the week. And then we warm things up just a little bit as we head into Thursday with nighttime wind chills here around 3 degrees heading into the end of this week. Now, whenever that wind chill gets below 0, from like 0 to -20, it takes only about 30 minutes for frostbite to set in. Luckily, it's not going to get this cold, okay? I just want to point that out there. We're not going to be looking at -20, -30 wind chills, but again, the frostbite time obviously gets a lot sooner the colder that it is. Now, as we look at wind chills around -5, -10, you're looking at probably a little bit more than a half hour. Granted, at this point, we're just playing around a few minutes more or less. Just be careful out there. You don't want to have that exposed skin. Going into tomorrow morning, again, the red on the map is that 10 weather impact alert. Just look how cold it is. 3 degrees is what it will feel like after the sun rises. And then as we head towards tomorrow afternoon, still looking at that cold weather, as we're going to be looking at temperatures here around 6 degrees here at 10 o'clock in the morning, staying cold as we head towards 1, 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Generally speaking, long term, look how cold it's going to stay, okay? Below average. How far below average? Like 20 degrees below average. Some parts of the Tennessee Valley could be near 30 degrees below normal as we head into the end of this week going into next week, as we have another wave of cold air on the way, which we'll talk more about coming up in just a bit. What about rainfall? Below average precipitation. If you live in the Brown, which most of you guys who are watching this do, we're looking at drier than average conditions through the rest of January, and then down to the deep south where you have that light green shading. That's where things will be above average in the rainfall department. Staying cold. So we have a punch of cold air this week. That's right there. And then here's that weekend thaw. Look at that right here. Saturday and Sunday, January 17th and 18th. We actually climb above average. And then another shot of extreme cold next week. Take a look at this. January the 20th here. We're looking at temperatures as low as 10, 15, 20 degrees below average, and it stays that cold through all of next week. And in fact, only a couple of days here on this forecast do we ever climb above normal. So it stays pretty cold for the long term. And we'll actually come back to this map in a few minutes when we circle back around the weather trivia, because there's some cool nuances that I want to point out. Let's get a look right now at that 7-day forecast. And again, wind chills. Yeah, there's no way around it going into Wednesday morning, especially early in the day. And then as we head towards the afternoon, even by sunset, it's still only feeling like 7 out there. So the air temperature will be around 20, the wind chill around 7 heading into Wednesday afternoon. But you've got the sunshine, right? Always that silver lining. As we head towards Thursday, tracking the possibility of a little bit of snowfall. Wednesday, bright sunny day. No way around that. But as we head towards Thursday, we have another weak clipper system that could bring snowfall to Cleveland, Coshocton, and Columbus. A quick light accumulation similar to what we are looking at today. Then that moves on out of here. Then as we head towards Friday, we're back to the sunshine as that system pulls out of the region. Look at this right here. By Saturday, looking at our next storm, believe it or not, starting off as all rain. Why? We're going to be on the warmer side of things. But then you can see the blue on the map. The pink is that rain and snow mixing together. The blue would be all snow, and this would be going into Saturday afternoon, going into Saturday evening, and then we end as all snow as that cold air moves back into the system. Heading into next week, take a look at this right here. The polar vortex is back all season long up here in the Arctic. We have this cold air that is just parked, but it's going to find a weakening. It's going to find a gap in the jet stream. The jet stream is actually going to be pushing down to the south, and with that comes that cold air. And in fact, if it's any consolation, this week is actually probably going to be considered mild compared to how cold it'll be next week. Just looking at some early data, some regions across the northern Dakotas could be looking at temperatures around negative 30 for the early to middle part of next week. So that's how cold it's about to get. Then as we get a look right now at Sunday, tracking a few leftover snow showers. Heading into the start of next week, though, it's just all about the cold and the chill out there. It is time right now to check in on weather trivia. And for that, I have our own Amy Steigerwald. We're going to test that noggin of yours this morning.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so here's a look at today's weather trivia question. All right, so what is the average coldest day of the year in the city of Columbus? Let's get a look here at the possible answers. We have option A, January the 20th, December the 1st, December the 21st, or January the 1st. What do you think?
February 1st.
February 1st.
I'm going to go with February 1st.
Okay. You know what?
Am I right?
You're off by 10 days.
That was my second guess.
Yep, you're off by 10 days. So the average temperature, 29 degrees here on January the 20th. That's the average coldest day of the year. Now, February 1st very well could be the coldest day this year. But on average, if we look at the whole calendar year, it's always around that 29th of January that we actually get the coldest weather here of the season. Now, let's take a look at this right here. As we head into the start of December, the average temperature is about 38. And by the way, this is averaging daytime high and nighttime low. All right, so when you average every daytime high, every nighttime low, December the 1st, it's around 38 degrees. The coldest temperature throughout the calendar year would be January the 20th, okay? Averaging that nighttime low and that daytime high, you get 29 degrees. And then as we head towards February, it's still cold in February. We still get snow in February, and we still get the polar vortex that occasionally shows up. But it is a little bit warmer with an average temperature of 33. And then by March 6th, it goes up to around 38 degrees. Now, check this out, okay? So the average coldest day of the year is around January the 20th. Look at the date down here. Look at January 20th. It's right there. That is the forecasted coldest day over the next 10 days. To me, that's just a coincidence, but that is when we are expecting that next outbreak of the polar vortex. It's about to get very cold around here as we head into next week, as millions of Americans are bracing for the extreme cold. Did you learn something?
I did. I always learn something with you.
Ah, fantastic. That's the goal around here. All right, that does it for us here.